Hi all, we are done with section 1 and 2 and now we'll work on section 3, which is describe the capability of Microsoft security solutions. Let's expand this and see what's inside. So there are 6 subsections. Let's get started with the first one, which is basic security capability in Azure. Just a reminder, the screen is structured in such a way that at the top you see those 4 sections and we are in the third section, Microsoft Security Solutions. The heading tells which subsection we have. We have basic security capabilities Azure, and on the left hand side you see the topics which we are going to cover in this section. So this is designed such a way so that you are not lost in so many topics. So let's get started. The first topic in this is network security group. Network security group allows or denies network traffic to and from Azure resources that exist in your Azure virtual network. For example, a virtual machine, as you can see on the right hand side. So subnet 1 has a NSG assigned to it that filters inbound and outbound access to VM1, and whereas VM1 in subnet 2 could represent a public facing machine that does not require an NSG. This is an example. Key points to remember is NSG can be associated with multiple subnet or networks. It consists of rules that defines how the traffic is filtered, and the rules are evaluated by priority using 5 important points, which are source port, destination port, and the protocol to either allow or deny the traffic. As a guideline, you should never create 2 security rules with same priority and direction. Next, we are going to talk about Azure DDoS protection. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Services. Is an attack that aims to overwhelm the resources on your application or server, making them unresponsive or slow for genuine users. There are 3 most frequent DDoS types: volumetric attack, protocol attack, and resource layer attack. Volumetric attack, as the name suggests, it's a volume-based attack that floods the network with seemingly legitimate traffic. As a result, it overwhelms the available bandwidth so that legitimate traffic can't get through. This type of attacks are measured in bits per second. Whereas the protocol attack does the same thing, but it does at the network layer 3 and 4 protocols. These type of attacks are measured in packets per second. And resource or application level attack attacks the web application packets to disrupt the transmission of data between 2 hosts. So these are the 3 types in general. Let's see how Azure help in DDoS. So Azure DDoS protection service, it analyzes the traffic and disregards anything that looks like a DDoS attack. As you can see in the diagram, the attacker is sending some information which Azure DDoS protection is filtering out and only sending the information coming from the customer, represented by orange lines. Azure DDoS protection uses scale and largest of Microsoft global network to bring this to every Azure region. And during DDoS attack, Azure can scale your computing need to meet demand so that your customers don't suffer. And DDoS protection manages cloud consumption and ensure that network load only reflects actual customer usage. As we said, the attacker's data is filtered. It is available in 2 tiers, basic and standard. The basic service tier is automatically enabled for every property in Azure at no extra cost, whereas standard service tier provides extra mitigation capabilities that are tuned specifically to Microsoft Azure Virtual Network resources. It is simple to enable and require no application changes. And in this, protection policies are tuned through dedicated traffic monitoring and machine learning algorithms, so it is more sophisticated. And how it is priced, DDoS pricing. So DDoS standard protection services has a fixed monthly charge that includes protection for 100 resources. At the time of this recording, it's almost 3,000 per month. And if you need additional resources, then those are charged per resource basis, $30 per resource per month. As a special note, if the resource is protected with the DDoS standard protection, any scale out costs during DDoS attacks are covered and customer will get cost credit back for those scale out resources. In a practical example, it has seen that sometimes DDoS attack happen the way Azure network or services are designed. The system can get scale out very easily and you may end up getting a large bill. But if you have DDoS protection standard plan, any scale out cost during this kind of attack is covered and you don't need to pay that extra because you get a cost back credit. So this is Azure DDoS. Now let's talk about Azure Firewall. Azure Firewall is a managed cloud-based network security service that protects your Azure virtual network VNets resources from attacks. As you can see, it sits here Azure Firewall, and it can connect to on-premises as well as cloud resources before the internet traffic. Talking about the scale, with Azure Firewall, you can scale up the usage to accommodate changing network traffic. So you don't need to budget for peak traffic. As the traffic increases, it will scale up. There are key features: built-in high availability and availability zone, network and application level filtering. So you can do both network and application level filtering. That means it can translate private IP addresses of network security to Azure public IP addresses to identify and allow traffic. Similarly, vice versa. It can support multiple public IP addresses. So it has threat intelligence based filtering, which can be enabled for your firewall to alert and deny traffic from or to a non-malicious IP addresses and domains, which is very helpful, and it integrates well with Azure Monitor. So these are the key features for Azure Firewall. So next is Azure Bastion. So Azure Bastion sits in the virtual network, and it allows developer and data scientists who are working remotely direct access to those VMs. So even those VMs can be private, it can still allow developer and data scientists to connect those private IPs through Azure Bastion, as shown in the diagram. So it provides secure and seamless RDP or SSH connectivity to your virtual machine directly through the Azure portal using transport layer security. When you connect via Azure Bastion, your virtual machine don't need a public address, as I mentioned, or any agent or special client software. So Bastion provides RDP and SSH connectivity to all VMs in the virtual network in which it is provisioned. So if you see in the diagram, it is provisioned in this network, and it provides access to all three VMs. And final point to remember is Azure Bastion development is per virtual network, not per subscription or account or virtual machine. That is important to remember for the exam. So next topic is Web Application Firewall, WAF. As you see on the diagram, WAF sits in the web layer. It provides centralized protection of your web applications from common exploits and vulnerabilities, for example, SQL injection and cross-site scripting. So it provides filters before it hits the network. Supported services, it can be deployed with Azure Application Gateway, Azure Front Door, and CDN, which is Azure Content Delivery Network Services. And the final topic in this section is encryption. There are many different ways to secure your data depending on the services and user requirement. So we have Azure Storage Service Encryption, which helps to protect data at rest by automatically encrypting before processing it to Azure Managed Disk, Blob Storage, Files, Queue Storage, etc. And it decrypts the data before the retrieval. That is data at rest. The second is Azure Disk Encryption, which helps to encrypt the virtual machine disk using the industry standard BitLocker feature of Windows and decrypt features of Linux. And third one is transparent data encryption, which is used to help protect Azure SQL databases and data warehouses against the threat of malicious activities. It performs real-time encryption and decryption of database and backups transaction log file at rest without requiring changing the application. So it is transparent to the application or the developers. It happens at a SQL database and data warehouse level. And next one important topic is Azure Key Vault, which is a centralized cloud service for storing your application secrets. It helps you control your application secrets by keeping them in a single centralized location by providing secure access, permission control, and access logging capabilities. It can be used for different scenarios like secret management, for example, token, password, certificates, application programming, interface keys, and other secrets. Key management. It can be used as a key management solution, which helps to create and control the encryption key used to encrypt your data. Or certificate management like SSL, TLS certificates. And it stores secrets backed by hardware security modules, HSM. So this is about Azure Key Vault, which is very useful for encryption in Azure. So with this, we are done with this topic. So first subsection, which is basic security capabilities in Azure, is completed. Next one is security management capabilities of Azure. Under this, we will talk about security management capabilities of Azure. The first topic is Azure Security Center. So Azure Security Center gives you infrastructure level security management to protect your data. It provides a set of tools you need to harden your network, secure services, and ensure you are top on the security posture. So it addresses three most urgent security challenges. which is rapidly challenging workload. As the workload are regularly changing, so it provides option to use and create your security standard and follow best practices. Increasing sophisticated attack. Wherever your work is situated, the attackers keep getting more and more sophisticated. So securing your public internet-based service is essential, otherwise you will be even more vulnerable. And third is security skills are in short supply. The set of tools which is provided comes handy. So talking about tool, it provides tools which can help to strengthen security posture, which access your network and enable you to understand the status of your resources and where they stand in terms of security. The tools can help to protect against threat by raising threat prevention recommendation and security alerts. And it can help to get secure fast thanks to auto provisioning and protection with Azure services. And final point to remember is Azure Security Center also protects non-Azure servers and virtual machines in cloud or on premises for both Windows and Linux server by installing log analytic agent. This is also important to remember. So pricing tier for Security Center, it comes with two options. One is Azure Defender Off. So Security Center without Azure Defender is enabled free of charge on all your Azure subscription. And with Azure Defender on, this option extends the free mode capability to workload running in private and other public cloud, providing unified security management and threat protection across the hybrid cloud workload. So if you have a sophisticated hybrid cloud workload running on private and public cloud, you can go for Azure Defender on option. Point to remember for the exam. So next topic is Azure Secure Score. As we said, Security Center continuously access your resources, subscription and organization for security issue. After that, it aggregates all the finding into a single score so that you can quickly see the current security situation. That is called Azure Secure Score. Key thing to remember is higher the score, the lower the identified risk level. So how can we increase our security score? To increase your security score, continuously review Security Center recommendation page for the outstanding action necessary. Each recommendation includes instruction to help you remediate the specific issues. So based on this recommendation, if we address the issue, the security score will go up. So next talk about Azure Defender. It's a built-in tool that provides threat protection for workloads running in Azure, on-premises, and other clouds. It's a leading Microsoft extended detection and response solution for threat protection, which is XDR. You will talk about more in coming section. It's integrated with Azure Security Center. It provides protection to hybrid data, cloud native services and servers, and integrated with other security workflows. The scope of Azure Defender, our plans. So there is Azure Defender for servers, Azure Defender for app services, for storage, for SQL, for Kubernetes, for container registries, for Key Vault. For pretty much all the important services, you have Azure Defender, and it provides threat detection and advanced defense for these services. It's good to go through that for exam, that what kind of benefits you can get. So next is Cloud Security Posture Management, which is CSPM. It's a relatively new class of tools. It accesses your system and automatically alerts security staff in your IT department when a vulnerability is found. It uses a combination of tools and services. For example, zero trust based access control. It considers the active threat level during access control decisions. Real-time risk scoring to provide visibility into top risk, threat and vulnerability management. Discover sharing risk, for example, to understand the data exposure of enterprise intellectual property, or sanction and unsanctioned cloud services. Technical policies, threat modeling system and architecture. So with all these tools and services, it accesses your system and automatically alert security staff when needed. So who are the typical users of CSPM in the organization? It could be threat intelligence team, information technology team, compliance and risk management team, business leader, SMEs, security architects, and audit team. So when do we use it? We use CSPM to improve cloud security management by accessing the environment and automatically alerting security staff for vulnerabilities. This is a key point to remember. Next is security baseline for Azure. So in general, baseline is implementation of the benchmark on an individual Azure service. The benchmark contains security recommendation for specific technologies such as Azure. The recommendations are categorized by the control to which they belong. So Azure Security Benchmark, it provides prescriptive best practices and recommendations to help improve the security, workload, data, and services at Azure. Each recommendation includes the following information: Azure ID to identify the source, what is the recommendation, guidance, that is rationale of the recommendation, responsibility, who should do it, and Azure Security Center monitoring. That means, does Azure Security Center monitor the control? So all these things are there in the recommendation on the individual Azure services. So with this, we are done with the last topic in this subsection. And next one we are going to talk about is security capabilities of Azure Sentinel. So here, first we'll go through these three definitions: SIEM, SOAR, and XDR. These are important for the exam. So SIEM is Security Incident and Event Management. It's a tool that an organization uses to collect data from across the whole estate, including infrastructure, software, and resources. It does analysis and looks for correlating or anomalies and generate alert and incident. So this is Security Incident and Event Management. And next is Security Orchestration Automated Response, SOAR. It takes alerts from the SIEM and other resources and then triggers action-driven automated workflow and processes to run security tasks that mitigates the issue. And third one is Extended Detection and Response, XDR. So this is a system which is designed to deliver intelligent, automated and integrated security across the organization domain. It helps prevent, detect and respond to threats across identities, endpoint, application, email, IoT, infrastructure and cloud platform. And it provides a comprehensive security parameter to the organization. For example, Azure Defender is a XDR, as we discussed in the previous section. So next is Microsoft Azure Sentinel. So it is a scalable cloud-native SIEM SOAR solution that delivers intelligent security analytics and threat intelligence across the enterprise. It provides a single solution for alert detection, threat visibility, protective hunting, and threat responses. As you see in the diagram, it has end-to-end functionality covered in 4 security operation areas, which collects data at cloud scale across all user devices, application infrastructure, both on-premises and multiple clouds. Detect previously uncovered threat and minimize false positive using analytic and unparalleled threat intelligence. Investigate threats with AI and hunt suspicious activities at scale. Respond to incident rapidly with built-in orchestration and automation of common security tasks. So what is the usage? Azure Sentinel helps enable end-to-end security operation. It starts with log ingestion and continues through to automated response to security alerts. So this should be remembered for the exam. So let's understand Sentinel cost. So it provides intelligent security analytics across your enterprise, which need data to be stored. And the data is stored in Azure Monitor Log Analytic Workspace. And billing is based on the volume of data ingested for analysis in Azure Sentinel and stored in Azure Monitoring Log Analytics Workspace. There are 2 ways to pay for this service. One is capacity reservation and second is pay as you go. With capacity reservation, you are billed a fixed fee based on the selected tier that helps you enabling a predicted total cost of the Azure Sentinel. Whereas pay as you go, you are billed per GB of volume of data ingested for analysis and Sentinel and stored in Azure Monitoring Log Analytic Workspace. So based upon the need, one of these 2 can be picked up. But these are the 2 options to be remembered for the exam when the cost is concerned. So with this, we are done with security capabilities of Azure Sentinel. The next one is threat protection with Microsoft 365 Defender. So Microsoft 365 Defender is an enterprise defense suite that protects against sophisticated cyber attack. It is cross-domain and takes signature and consolidated review, analyze correlated, and provide context. It allows admin to access threat signals from applications, email, and identity to determine an attack scope and impact. It gives great insight to how threat occurred and what system has been affected. Also, it can take automated action to prevent or stop the attack. So if you see on the right hand side, the picture shows that it connects with applications, endpoint, identities, and data and monitor them for the attacks and allow admins to access these threats. And when needed, it can take automated actions. So we're going to talk about all 4 of these next. Microsoft 365 Defender Suite protection areas. So these are the 4 areas as shown in the last diagram. Identities with Microsoft Defender for identity and Azure AD identity protection. It helps to signal to identify, detect and investigate advanced threat, compromise identities and malicious insider action directed by your organization. Then email and collaboration. We're going to cover that. Then endpoints with Microsoft Defender for endpoint. Application with Microsoft Cloud App Security. We're going to talk about all 4 of these in detail. Let's get started. First one is Microsoft Defender for Identity. It uses your on-premises Active Directory data called signals to identify, detect, and investigate advanced threats and compromised identities and malicious insider action directed at your organization. It covers these areas: monitor and profile user behavior and activities, protect user identities and reduce the attack, identify suspicious activities and advance attacks across the cyber attack kill chain. And what are the activities it investigates? So it is designed to reduce general alert noise, and it provides only relevant important security alerts in a simple real-time organization attack timeline. You can use defenders for identity attack timeline view and intelligence of smart analytics to stay focused on what matters. It protects your organization for compromised identities, advanced threat, and malicious insider action. So next area is Microsoft Defender for Office 365. It safeguards organization against malicious threat posed by email messages, links, and collaboration tools such as Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive for business, and other Office clients. It covers following areas: threat protection policies. It defines threat protection policy to set the appropriate level of protection of your organization. It provides reports with real-time reports to monitor Microsoft Defender for Office performance in your organization. Threat investigation and response capabilities uses leading-edge tools to investigate, understand, and simulate and prevent threats. Automated investigation and response capability saves time and effort investing and mitigating threats. So it is available in 2 plans. Good to remember for the exam. Plan 1 and Plan 2. Plan 1 has features like safe attachment, safe links, protection for SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, anti-phishing protection, real-time detection. Plan 2 has, in addition to Plan 1, threat trackers, threat explorers, automated investigation and response, attack simulators. And where it is available for 365, it is included in certain subscriptions such as Microsoft 365, E5, etc. If your subscription does not include this, you can purchase it as an add-on. So this is good to remember. Sometimes questions are there on this. So where do we use it? We use it to protect organization, collaboration tool, and messages. Please remember this use case. Now let's talk about Microsoft Defender for Endpoints. Helps enterprise network protection endpoints by preventing, detecting, investigating, and responding to advanced threats. It embeds technology built into Windows 10 and MSFT cloud services. For example, endpoint behavior sensor that collects and processes signal from the operating system, cloud security analytics that turns signal into insights, detection and recommendation, and threat intelligence to identify attacker tools, techniques, and general alerts. So in the diagram below, you can see what are the features of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. It has threat and vulnerability management, attack surface reduction, next generation protection, endpoint detection and response, automated investigation and remediation, and Microsoft Threat Expert. We can even connect to Microsoft Threat Expert if we have Microsoft Defender. So this feature also good to remember for the exam. So next topic is Microsoft Cloud App Security, which is MCES. It's a type of Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB. It acts as a gatekeeper to broker real-time access between your enterprise user and the cloud resources they use, wherever they are located and whatever device they are using. It addresses security gap in your organization use of cloud services. Protection is provided by many capabilities across these areas. CASB has pillars, which is visibility to detect all cloud services, data security, threat protection, and compliance. Now, as we mentioned, Microsoft Cloud App Security is also a CASB. And as a definition, it's a comprehensive cross SaaS solution that operates as an intermediary between a cloud user and the cloud provider. It provides rich visibility to your cloud services, control over data travel, and sophisticated analytics to identify and combat cyber threat across all your Microsoft and third-party cloud services. So it sits between a cloud user and a cloud provider and monitors the data to detect any threat. So where do we use it? We can use this service to gain visibility into shadow IT by discovering the cloud app being used. You can control and protect data in the apps after you sanction them to the service. With that, we are done with threat protection with Microsoft 365 Defenders. Next, we are going to talk about security management capabilities of Microsoft 365. So first we're going to talk about Microsoft 365 Security Center. So this is a specialized workspace designed to meet the need of security and compliance team. It provides actionable insight to help reduce risk and safeguard your digital estate. This is a new home for monitoring and managing security across Microsoft identities, data, devices, and application. Here you can view security health of your organization, act to configure devices, users, and apps, and get alerts for suspicious activities. It has a navigation pane that has following options. You may go through this once, no need to remember for the exam, but good to know. What you need to remember is you must be assigned an appropriate role such as global admin, security operator, or security reader to access Microsoft 365 Security Center. This could be important for the exam. Now earlier we talked about Azure's Security Secure. Now here we are going to talk about Microsoft Security Score. It's one of the tools in Microsoft Security Center, which is a representation of company's security posture. The higher the score, the better your protection. It helps organizations report the current state of their security posture, improve their security posture by providing discoverable visibility, guidance and control, and compare benchmark and establish key performance indicator KPIs. The points are given in the following action: configure recommendation security feature, doing security related tasks, addressing the implementation action with a third-party application or software. Some improvement action only gives points when fully completed, other gives when they are partially completed. If you can't or don't want to act on the improvement action, you can choose to accept the risk or the remaining risk. Currently, Microsoft Security Score support recommendation for Microsoft 365, Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Defender for endpoints, Defender for identities, cloud app security, and new recommendations are being added all the time. So this could be important for exam, that what is the difference between Azure and Microsoft Security Score. The security score in Azure Security Center is a measure of the security posture of the Azure subscription, whereas Microsoft Secure Score is measure of security portion of the organization across your app, device, and identities. So that's the difference. Both the Azure and Microsoft Security Score provide a list of steps you can take to improve your score. In 365 Secure Score, these are called improvement action, whereas in Azure Secure Score, these are called security recommendation. As a usage, use Microsoft Security Score to understand and rapidly improve your organization's security posture. How the reports and dashboards are organized, as you can see on the right hand side, Microsoft Security Center includes a report section that shows various cards. For example, identities, data, devices, apps, all these are cards which are shown. In this particular diagram, identity and data cards are shown. You can group cards by topics. For example, risk card is shown in the top right. It highlights entities such as account and devices that might be at risk. And second group shown is detection trends. That highlights new threat detection, anomalies and policy violations. Same way we have configuration and health and others. So we can use the report section to view security trends across the organization and track the protection of your organization devices, app, identities and data. So this is about security reports and dashboards. Next is incident and incident management. So incidents are collection of correlated alerts created when a suspicious event is found. It provides a comprehensive view and context of an attack. And a security personnel can use an incident to determine where an attack started, what methods were used, and to what extent the attacker have progressed with the network. This can also determine the scope of the attack and how many user devices and mailboxes are affected. The severity of the attack can also be determined. Now, incident management. In Microsoft 365 Defender, you can manage incidents on devices, user account, and mailboxes by selecting one from the incident queue. Every incident are automatically assigned a name based on the alert. You can edit the name of an incident, resolve it, and then set its classification determination. You can also assign the incident to yourself and add incident tags and comments. When you investigate cases where you want to move alerts from one incident to another, you can also do so from the Alerts tab. You will create a large or small incident that includes all relevant alerts. This is good to have these incident capabilities and managing them in the workflow. So with this, we are done with security management capabilities of Microsoft 365. The last section in this is endpoint security for Microsoft Intune. So what is Microsoft Intune? It's a cloud-based service that focuses on mobile device management, MDM, and mobile application management, MAM. It is applicable to both organization devices and personal devices. Under organization devices, you can also configure specific policies to control application. For example, you can prevent email from being sent to people outside your organization. And on the personal devices, it allows people in your organization to use their personal devices for school or work, like bring your own device, for example. On personal devices, Intune helps make sure your organization data stays protected and can isolate it from personal data. Another important topic with Intune, admins have the capability what they can do. For example, they can support a diverse mobile environment and manage iOS, iPad, Android, Windows, Mac OS devices securely. They can set rules and configure setting on personal and organization owned devices to access data and networks. They can deploy and authenticate apps for both on-premises and mobile devices. They can protect your company information by controlling the way users access and share information. They can be sure devices and apps are compliant with your security requirement. So this is important for the exam to remember. Let's talk about endpoint security with Intune. Whenever an admin wants to configure and manage security tasks for at-risk device, they go to endpoint security node in Intune. These are the options they have. Manage device. Admin can view and select devices to drill it from more information, such as which policy or device isn't compliant with. You can also use access from the view to remediate issues for a device, including restarting, start a scan for a malware, or rotate BitLocker key on a Windows 10 device. It can manage security baselines. So it includes security baseline, which we discussed in the start, for Windows devices and a growing list of applications like Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Defender for endpoints, and more. So security baselines are pre-configured group of Windows setting that helps admin apply security recommendation. It uses policies to manage device securely. Each endpoint security policy focus on aspect of device like antivirus, disk encryption, firewalls, and areas such as endpoint detection and response and attack surface security. It is made available through integrated Microsoft Defender for endpoint solution. It uses device compliance policies to establish the condition by which devices and users are allowed to access the corporate network and company resources. With compliance policies, admin can set the rules that devices and users must meet to be considered compliant. Let's talk about how endpoint security works with Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center. So it helps to configure conditional access. So Intune can be integrated with Azure AD conditional access policies to enforce compliance policies. Intune passes the result of your device compliance policies to Azure AD, which then uses conditional access policy to ensure which device or app can access your corporate resources. So there are two methods, device-based access and application-based access. In device-based access, it ensures only managed and compliant devices can access the network. In application-based conditional access, it uses app protection policies to manage access to network resources by user-owned devices that aren't managed by Intune. Integration with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. As we know, Intune can integrate with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which we covered in the previous section, for a mobile threat defense solution. This integration can help prevent security breaches and limit the impact of breaches within an organization. And the last one is role-based access control Microsoft Intune. RBAC, which is a very famous access-based control in Azure, it helps manage who has access to organization resources and what they do with them. By assigning roles to Intune users, admins limit what they will see and change. Each role has a set of permissions that determines what users with that role can access and change with your organization. So this is how it can be integrated well with RBAC or Microsoft Defender and conditional access to provide an overall good endpoint solution. So with this, we are done with the subsection endpoint security with Microsoft Intune. And that finishes our section 3, which is describe the capabilities of Microsoft security solution. This was the last section, as you can see, 30 to 35%. And next one, which we will cover, is the final section, describe the capabilities of Microsoft compliance solution.